Welcome everyone to episode 2 of My Gamer's Perspective, where I give you my insight on all things gaming. My name is Kotetsu, and welcome you guys. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful weekend. Of course, we had to postpone the live stream from yesterday because if you guys didn't see what I tweeted, I got in an accident. It wasn't too bad. We all walked away from it. Not too injured. I messed up my shoulder a little bit, but overall I was okay. I had to deal with some stuff on Friday, so I couldn't do anything. I had to kind of stay available on Friday. And today, today's the day we're gonna do it. So real quick, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to fix something because I've been having camera issues with this cam. So is this the, yep, okay, cool. So I've been having issues with my camera. So that's not me. This is like a still of me, what happened when my camera froze up. And so we're going to go back. We're going to change that. And here we go. Hopefully it is good now. Hopefully it does not go out at all during this entire podcast. So we got a little bit to talk about, not too much. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the game that's playing right now. You guys are seeing Marvel Snap. I did do a video on it a couple days ago. It is a free-to-play game where you can download it on your mobile devices and on Steam. It's a very, very, very fun game to play. Very strategic game. Fast. The games go really fast, so you got to really, do your moves and plays right, so it doesn't affect you during the long run. So, but that's what's playing right now, and that's what we're gonna be playing. That's what's going to be playing through the entire time. So, without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's jump in. We got a nice little meaty discussion at the end about the whole Platinum Games debacle. So we're gonna talk about that. Talk about how I feel and my opinions on that. First, in news this week, Digimon World Next Order, I believe that's what it's called, is being released on Nintendo Switch and PC after its, I want to say, 2016 release of the game. So it's been about, well, we're 2022, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. So about like 6 years. It's been 6 years since it was released, and now it's getting a PC and Switch port. Which is good, I guess. More players can play this game because it was only released in Japan. It was released out for the Vita, I think, and then it released out here for PS4, and then now it's coming to Nintendo Switch and PC. I guess that's good. More people can try it out. I have the game, and there's some things I have issues with when it comes to the game. There's not much explanation on certain things. When it comes to really when it comes to digivolving your Digimon, there's really not much explanation in there. Most of it you have to kind of go online and figure it out. That's my only problem with the game, was that there's not much explanation on a lot of the stuff that goes on. If there's very vague explanation on it, and that's my only gripe with the game. Not much of a tutorial really. When it comes to that stuff, because I had issues where I was training two Digimon differently, and then they digivolved to the same Digimon, which was frustrating. So that was my only gripe about it. But it's pretty fun. It's it's fun, and I'm glad it's coming out for them. I'm happy to see it's coming out for the Switch and for PC. And that's going to segue to another topic on Digimon, where they're planning more Digimon games in the future, which is really good to hear because I'm a Digimon fan. I love Digimon. I've loved Digimon since I was in elementary school, right next to Pokemon. And I always feel that Digimon is always right on the heels of Pokemon. Always, and will forever be the franchise that is right on the heels of Pokemon. Not rivaling them too much, but really just on the heels of them most of the time. And it's really nice to see hearing that there's going to be more games. There's more games coming in the future. Like, not sure. I'm like all tangled up here. No why. Not sure what type of games. Like, hopefully we will get some more like RPGs, like Cyber Sleuth, and maybe something like Survive, not too much on the novel part of it, because in Survive there's a lot of the novel portion of it. Then there's actual gameplay, and that could turn people off. I haven't even gone back to it yet because of that. I want to go back to it, but I haven't gone back to it yet. But because of that, yes, there's a lot of that, because there's a lot of novel form in there than there is, or visual novel format in there than there is a gameplay. But I hope we get, or at least we get more of the strategic gameplay of Digimon like we do in Survive. The gameplay is great. I love that I love how the game is built like that. And if we get more games like that, not too much on the visual side, but more of a balance kind of thing, that would be pretty good to see. Not They didn't say what kind of games we're gonna get. We were just knowing that IGN reported that we're gonna be seeing more Digimon games in the future, which is good to see. Which is really cool to see. Next up, Sims 4 is now a free to play. So for those I have Sims 4, but for those who don't have Sims 4 and was curious about Sims 4, now it is a free to play game. I think all their content, all their content is, you still have to pay for all their content, but the game itself is free. You can go on in and download it and just get lost in it. It's a great simulation game to play. I've been playing Sims since like middle school with my stepbrother. We've had we've made like a lot of families in that game. It's crazy just what direction you can go in Sims, but it's really fun. I would recommend, if you want like a nice chill game that's not Animal Crossing or any of these other farming sim games, Sims is actually is a good one. They didn't think, they only said the current consoles that they're on is for free. I don't know if it was on the Switch. I don't know that, but I know because I have it on PlayStation, and then for PC, I'm sure, and I think it's for Xbox as well. So any console that is on, it's free to play now. So if you guys are curious, you guys go check that out. Next is Sony. Earlier this week announced a brand new Elite controller, which looks really cool. Like it's pretty much almost just like the Xbox Elite, where it's more responsive controls. You can tweak the sensitivity, add more buttons in the back. You can change your button scheme. The adaptive, because it's already a pretty awesome adaptive controller. Now it's even more like adaptive to certain things. When it comes to gameplay, and I saw it, I'm like, that's actually pretty cool. And I think they said pre-orders start on the 25th, which is Tuesday, which is cool. But the price for this controller is $200, so that's actually a lot for those who especially for those who probably just got their hands on a PS5, and then they see this cool controller, and now it's like, great, now I gotta drop another $200 on this controller if you don't have to. I'm not gonna do it. It's not really worth it. It's a cool controller, but $200, you're asking me to pay $200 for this controller? No. For probably more advanced technology than the other controller that we have, and with the additional buttons and everything else, then okay, fine. But I'm not gonna do it. But whoever else wants to, you guys can go ahead. If you guys are interested in doing that, feel free and do it. I don't think I'm gonna do it. It looks cool. It looks like a cool controller. I would enjoy having that controller if it wasn't so daggone much. 150 is probably reasonable for me for a controller like that. 150, because the standard controllers are like $80. So if they charge this one like 150, then that's reasonable for me. But to say you can either choose to buy an $80 controller or a $200 controller, that's just that's no brainer. I'm going to get the $80 controller instead. So that's a no brainer for me. But for those who want to get it, you guys can. So next is Silent Hill game. So Konami has also, there's just been a lot of kind of crazy announcement. We have another announcement coming, not announcement, another showcase of a horror franchise game coming up we're going to talk about. But Konami has announced a remake of Silent Hill 2. Now, I've never played Silent Hill. I refuse to play Silent Hill because that's hitting my quota of scary games, because I can watch scary movies no problem, but when I'm playing scary games, if I'm in it and playing it, I kind of have a hard time because it's a little. I can play a certain amount, then I'm like, okay, I'm done. I can't play anymore. Cause I gotta get over it because my adrenaline's high and all that stuff, and it gets kind of crazy. But Silent Hill is just like the epitome of how I will not play that caliber scary games. I won't. But Silent Hill Remake 2 is coming. I don't remember when it's coming out, when they're dropping it, but they did have a trailer for the game. Not much of gameplay trailer, but more of like a cinematic trailer showing off the story of Silent Hill 2. Looks pretty creepy. Very eerie and disturbing type stuff, like which they're very good at in providing in their video games, is providing that kind of eerie and scary stuff to their game. So that's definitely what they can do. I forgot what there's the one when it's coming out, but they also announced two other Silent Hill franchises in there as well, which is like, I think it's Silent Hill Ascension, and it's another Silent Hill game. It's not F. I know it's there's it's a symbol, but I forgot what it is. But yeah, they announced two more other Silent Hill franchises this week, and those look pretty crazy too. If you guys go check those out, those look kind of crazy too as well. But definitely excited for my cousin loves Silent Hill, so I'm definitely excited to see him play it, and I'll just watch the game while he plays. I'm never gonna touch that controller and playing it, but they look kind of crazy, and it's cool to see Silent Hill coming back. I think we were all looking forward to Silent Hill when they did the PT, when we thought that was Silent Hill, but it was actually Death Stranding. We all thought it was Silent Hill, but it was Death Stranding. So it's nice to see Silent Hill coming back. So that's pretty good. Excuse me, I'm gonna drink my hot chocolate real quick. I thought if I had like a nice like cup, it kind of make it legit that I'm like newscasting on here. But another great segue is Konami. Capcom had a Resident Evil event on Thursday, and they were showing off more of the DLC for Resident Evil 8, which showed off the DLC with you get to play as Ethan's daughter 16 years after the events. And then we have third person view, which they also released a demo for third person view for Resident Evil 8. You can go play the demo now in third person because that's coming out later next week. And they also announced that Resident Evil 8 is going to be fully playable on Mac, which is actually really nice that they're supporting that. They added that support so other players can also experience this game too. So it was a good game. It was better than 7, 100% better than 7, but I don't think it's better than all the other ones, but it's definitely better than 7. I didn't enjoy 7 that much, but 8 is definitely better than 7. And then they showed off more gameplay for the DLC story that's coming out, which looks pretty interesting as well. Mercenaries and all that cool stuff that we've been looking forward to. And then they are releasing a free-to-play, free-for-all Resident Evil game. I'm assuming that's what it is. It looks pretty cool if it's like 2 people or a certain amount of people going up against whatever. It looks interesting. I didn't watch it much after that. I just watched that one time, and then I kind of made my decision on it and said, okay, yeah, this is pretty cool. It's not what I thought it was, but it's pretty cool. But that's what was happening on there during that event. And then after they showed off Resident Evil 8, they gave us a nice trailer for Resident Evil 4 remake, which I'm super excited for, and a gameplay trailer as well, showing off the first 2 scenes in Resident Evil 4, where Leon is going through this like dark like cabin type area, and then he gets attacked by the residents there, and then the famous courtyard scene where he goes into the courtyard, we see the church, and they're like sacrificing one of the drivers that takes you to the village. And then there's just like this scene where they all see you and they're all coming after you, and they showed off that scene there, which is cool to see because I remember that like it was yesterday. And I was playing Resident Evil 4 recently too, so I recognize a lot of the stuff, not everything because a lot of things changed, but that opening scene was definitely something I was like, all right, yeah, I remember that. And they added some new stuff to the game as well. So that's going to be interesting to see. So the release dates on both of these, Resident Evil 8. Yes, Resident Evil 8, I think they called it Gold Edition, is going to be dropping on October 28th. And Resident Evil 4 Remake, I believe that is March 24th or 23rd or 24th, 2023. So those are the dates for those. I'm actually really excited for Resident Evil 4 because I love Resident Evil 4. It was such a fun game, and I can't wait to play this remake. I've already played all the other remakes. This is another one I'm going to be picking up and playing, so it's going to be really fun. Really fun stuff. All right, well, that is it for all the news. This is going to be a short one today. Not really much I wanted to kind of talk about. But we are going to jump straight into the discussion of the week, which is the drama that happened for Bayonetta 3. If you guys have not been following that, it started around, I think it started like this weekend or last weekend. Because I remember watching the trailers again, and I was like, this Bayonetta sounds different. And kind of seeing that it wasn't the same actress, I was like, okay, if she didn't do it. But then I think it was last Friday, like right after I finished the first episode of this podcast, last Friday, we got a tweet from the actress who her name is Helena Taylor. She posted a video talking about how she was not how she is not a part of the third game. She wasn't the actress. She didn't reprise her role as Bayonetta in Bayonetta 3. And she explains why. She just to sum it up real quickly, she says that she was being underpaid. She's only getting paid $4,000 for the entire project. And she thought that was just criminal. And I agree. For a franchise that's been around about a decade, and she's been playing this character since then, and Bayonetta 1 and 2, she's been in Smash Bros. And probably some other like crossovers and collabs that involved her either using her voice lines from the game or having her go back and re-record those lines for those games so they can be fresh, or new lines for those collabs or crossovers or whatever. For the franchise to make so much money over those years, and for them to kind of come out and say, hey, you're only getting paid $4,000, we're going to pay you $4,000 for this entire project, I agree she should have left. And then she goes on and says that everyone should boycott Bayonetta 3, don't go buy the game. I think she said something like spend that money, donate to charity. Now that I don't agree with, and I'll explain why, but we're going to go over real quick about everything that happened. Shortly after, or a couple days after that came out, the actress who's playing Bayonetta now, which her name is Jennifer Haley, I think that's her name. Maybe I think I might be pronouncing it wrong. I think it's Jennifer Hale. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I think that's her name, Jennifer Hale, I believe so. She posted something talking about the whole thing that's going on, and she's just kind of thinks, she says, continue to, support people who are working on this game and all that. I forgot what she said. Then after that, there was an article from Bloomberg that was posted that went over, that went over the actual terms and agreement with Taylor and Platinum Games, where they said that she was offered to get paid $4,000 to $3,000 to $4,000 per session, and they said that's 5 sessions, which, let's just say the maximum was $4,000, right? And she's getting paid 5 sessions, right? $4,000 per session. So I think that's $20,000. That's $20,000 altogether. That's not bad. I think that's like the average. I think the average rate is around maybe like 25 to $30,000 altogether. But $20,000, that's not bad. Like you can that's bills being paid. You can live off that for a little while if you yeah, you can live off that for a little while, and then while you're looking for your next gig, that's not bad. Like for me, if I was first starting off and I was like, they were like, hey, we'll pay you 3,000 every session, and they said we're gonna do like 6 sessions. I'm like, dude, that's a good amount of money. That's $24,000, right? $3,000 for 6 sessions. That's 20. I think that's 20. Yeah, that's $24,000. So I would no, that's $18,000. $18,000. Yeah, that's 18. That's $18,000. So that's not bad for that's not bad, right? For that, and for her to get $20,000 altogether. I mean, that's kind of like around the average of how much a voice actor usually make. I think I looked it up the other day. I think they usually make around like $30,000, like the average. But to kind of say we're only getting you're getting paid 20, that's there could be like wiggle room. You can say, okay, I'll do it for 25, and I'm sure they'll say, okay, we'll do 25. And then you're like right at that cut, right at the average, but still, $20,000, $25,000 is not bad. And then there was another tweet that went out from Platinum, I think on Friday, saying that we stand behind everyone who is working on this project. Because I'm sure this is Bayonetta 3 has probably been a very long project they've been processing, project that they've been working on. They announced the game in like 2014. I think 2014 they announced. No, that's when Bayonetta 2. No, Bayonetta 2 didn't come out till 20. No, Bayonetta 2 actually. No, Bayonetta 2 came out 2014. Yeah, so I think Bayonetta 3 was announced, I think 2016. I want to say Bayonetta 3 was announced 2016. 2016, 2017 was when Bayonetta 3 was announced, and now we're just getting the game. So they've been through a process of getting things going. So, Platinum Games pretty much kind of put a period on the whole thing. They said, look, we understand the situation. We appreciate everyone's discretion. We do stand behind everyone, and we do stand behind Jennifer Hale and everyone else who was a part of this project. And we ask you guys to please, respect everyone and don't go out and do all this and da 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 da. And I think that was like the end of it. I think Platinum Games kind of put a period on it and said, we're squashing this whole situation. We're putting our final statement out. We stand behind this person, and that's it. We ask you guys to respect that. I think that's their period on that whole entire thing. Now, how I feel about the whole situation. So, first off, like I've already talked about, I kind of went over it where I said when she said she was only getting paid $4,000 for the entire project. I agreed with her decision of not reprising her role, because that's pretty criminal. Like being paid $4,000 for 5 sessions, and you're only getting paid $4,000 for a franchise that's been going on for a decade now, and that's made so much money and has so much success no matter what they've released it on. Like they re-released Bayonetta 1 and 2 on the Switch, and I'm sure those sold like crazy, because I got Bayonetta 2 on the Switch, which gave me the first game for free, but then they released the first game alone for like $20, and I'm sure that sold throughout that time, because we're in that new age of new next generation of consoles, and the only way you can play Bayonetta 1 is through PlayStation 3, and the only way you can play Bayonetta 2 is on the Wii U, and people were not trying to play the Wii U anymore because apparently Wii U sucked. I still like it. I have one right here, so I still like the Wii U. I might actually play that later. But yeah, they released those 2 games. I'm sure those sold again, made more money on there again, so then they can put that money towards the project, towards Bayonetta 3. So, to the fact that she stated that she's only getting paid $4,000, yes, I agree with her decision of not to reprise her role. Now, what I don't agree is her statement where she came out and said, "Do not support the game. Go spend your money on charity or donate it." That's where I don't agree with, because here's why. And you guys have probably agree and already heard this from other people, but I feel this way too, is that you have everyone else who didn't leave, who probably reprised their roles, or new actresses or actors who are on this project. You have developers, everyone who was on this project spending their times, that they could have been with their families, time during the pandemic they were working on this game, and you're kind of disrespecting them in a way, and telling everyone who telling everyone to not play this game because you think what they're doing is wrong, so don't support them. You're not just sticking it to the company, you're kind of sticking it to those who probably had nothing to do with the the paying process of how they're going to pay their actors, like developers and other actors on there. They probably had no idea that this was happening, and you're kind of putting that on them as well. And that's not fair, because they also spent a lot of time on this game and spent time that they could have been with their families. They're there working on this game, and you're kind of saying, "Hey, don't support that. Go do this instead." Like that kind of sucks. I don't agree with that, because I can understand what it's like to put all that time and hard work into something, and then not seeing any result from it at all. As much as you work hard and put into it and everything, and not seeing anything flourish out of it, that can hurt. And at that caliber, is probably twice as harmful to the mindset, to see something like that happen. So I didn't agree with that. Then when she said that. Now, when we got the bit about, hey, there was a Bloomberg article when someone found the negotiation process of the pricings, and they showed it to us, where she was making an average of $3,000 to $4,000 per session, which is 5 sessions. I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, what, she was lying," and then just turn on this person. No, I'm not gonna do that. Now, I don't know if she changed her narrative, if she was just like, "Well, I thought it was this," because there's no way you can kind of get confused with that. Like, if it says on paper, "Hey," and if they're telling you, "Hey, we're paying you," like this is a big, huge thing to misunderstand. That this is a huge misunderstanding. If she thought that, a huge misunderstanding, if she thought that they meant $4,000 the whole thing, because it's on paper. It has to be on paper. It has to be on paper of the structure of everything. Like, everything has to be like structured on there. Like, there's no way she can just kind of be like, "Oh, what, I'm only," and ask them, "I only get paid $4,000 for this entire thing." They probably, like, there's no way you can misunderstand that. It's not just you reading that document, it's probably your lawyer and everyone else reading that as well, and seeing it and saying, "No, no, no, they didn't mean $4,000 altogether, they meant 4,000 per session." I'm pretty sure that's what they kind of told her, because that's a huge thing to misunderstand. That's a huge thing to not see. That's a huge elephant to miss. You know what I mean? Like, to miss something like that. And I'm not sure if she kind of saw it as, okay, I'm not, I should be getting paid more, which, yes, she should be getting paid more, especially if she's the lead actress in this entire thing, because Bayonetta is the main character and she's playing the main character. She should be getting paid a lot more than that. I do agree. I think at least like 6,000 per session, because that's a lot of money. 6,000, 5 sets, 30. That's about 30,000, or even maybe even more. Like, if they could, if they're selling a whole bunch of copies, and the game and the developers themselves made, let's just say, ballpark. So what did she say? She said like $95 million or something like that. It's some huge number. I don't even know if it was that much, but she said like a huge number. Even if they're making that much, and they're coming to their main actress who's playing the main character. She should honestly be making more money than everyone else because she's doing more. She's doing more voice. She's not just doing the cutscenes in the game. She's doing all of the gameplays, like the grunts and the one liners and the incantations that she does in the game. And she's doing a lot more than all the other actors in the game. Like I think there's another character in the game who's doing that much as well, but I'm not sure who played that character. But for any actress or actor who's voicing a main character in a game should be getting more money because they're doing a lot more. They're doing a lot more than everyone else is. So I agree to the point of if she's doing a lot more, she should be getting paid a lot more money. That I agree with 100%. Um yeah. But like I said, that's a huge thing to miss something like that. And for her, I still kind of feel like it's wrong of her to kind of say don't go support this game, knowing that it's not just Platinum Games that's behind this. It's not just the main people behind Platinum Games. It's the developers who spend time on this. It's you know the talent that spends time on that, voice acting these characters. You have the mocap studio, who's if there's motion caption in it, you have them. You have the sound developers. You have this whole huge team behind this entire game, and it's not just Platinum. It's not just you. You have a whole other team behind you, and you're kind of saying, "Hey, I'm not in it because they said this. Don't support it." Like that's kind of messed up. Like I wouldn't, I wouldn't. No way would I. No way would I'd agree with with that statement. And then on another thing too, when she was like, "Hey, everyone, don't go support this game," I saw that and I was like, I get where you're coming from. I get it. They're wrong. You thought they wronged you and da da da. But I'm still going to get this game because of how long I've been waiting for this, as well as everyone else. And then there was tweets. Like I saw tweets of other people saying, "Yeah, I get where she's coming from, but I'm still picking it up. I still have it pre-ordered. I'm not gonna cancel my pre-order because of this situation per se, because that's more of." And let's just go over something else too. Yes, voice actors, I believe a majority of them are underpaid for what they do. I think there was something. I think it was in 2020. There was a show, and I forgot the actress, but it was a show. I think it was called. It was just. I think it was on Netflix, and it was something that was not. They didn't think it was gonna be anything, but this actress, she stuck with it, and it did extremely well. It did extremely well, and she was talking about how it got picked up by another station or something, and it was still doing well, but then they came to her and they were paying her they're going to pay her less for the season that she was doing than all the other seasons she's done. And she was very disappointed because she's worked on this for a while, and then now they're going to undercut her, and she's like, "No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to." And I think she ended up leaving. And I've seen other situations like that where other voice actresses or actors, they're like, "Hey, I've been working on this project for a very long. I've worked with you guys for a long time, and you guys are underpaying me, and I don't feel appreciated." And they're forced to leave. That's so unfortunate because they deserve to make a living too. Like honestly, when it comes to stuff like that, you guys don't. These companies who are cutting or underpaying their actors realize that, or I don't know if they realize it or not, but they're the ones who bring, especially in animation and movies, they're the ones who bring that stuff to life. Yes, there's animations look great and all this other stuff, but it's nothing without the personality that those actors bring to those characters. It's different. Now it's different between on on camera and voice acting. It's kind of different. when you think about it. So the pay will be different, but I think voice actors should at least make a not even I don't even say a decent. I think and I should say a well earned amount of money for what they're doing. I don't think they should be. I think it's wrong to be underpaid to feel like you're working on this for so long. You work with this company for so long, and all of a sudden they say, "Hey, we're going to cut your check down by like 10 grand," and you're just like, "What? Like, what do you mean you're gonna cut my check down 10? I've been working with you guys for a long time. If anything, I should get 15,000 or at least another 10,000 on top of that." And that's just something that I 100% agree when it comes to voice actors getting, paid less. I agree with that. But like I said, I don't agree with when she was kind of saying, hey, um, you know, don't support don't support this game because I'm not here because they're doing this. Because you have your colleagues who was with you who stayed on the project, they're still on there, and you're saying something like that, and it's kind of like I'm sure everyone's like, why was she like? I'm sure everyone understands she was upset, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, what you're saying is that they shouldn't support me either because of this. You know what I mean? Like if something like this happens, you should like I was with her and I 100% agree that she was getting paid less and she's not acceptable. If she would have just kind of talked about that issue instead of just saying, "Hey, don't go support this game," because it's kind of a slap to the face and everyone else who was working on it with who's worked on a project like this with you before in the past. So I think that's kind of wrong to kind of come out and say that. I'm sure she didn't mean it after that. I'm sure she was just like, look, I didn't mean to say don't support it. I was just upset and everything like that. But what I went through is still stands and whatever. And then of course there's a Bloomberg report. They said no, you're going to get paid 20,000 out of this whole thing. But it's I'm not saying she's a liar. I'm not saying she's anything. I'm not saying that what she went through, what she thought she went through sucked, and it's happening to a lot of actors still. But if you're getting paid $4,000 for 5 to 6 sessions, I mean, that's a nice bit of money. That's a nice bit of money, to have. You know what I mean? You know, it's a lot more than 4,000 the whole entire thing. So that's it. That's really all I gotta say about it. I wanted to just say that, and yeah, we'll go on from there. But anyway, that's it. It was a short one. Not really much to really go over this week that I kind of wanted to talk about. I really wanted to talk about that, but I was like, let me kind of go over some other things that were kind of cool. We had a lot more to talk about last week because we had that's 2 weeks of stuff to talk about. But yeah, it wasn't too much this week. Short podcast, but still was a podcast nonetheless. That's it for me, guys. Hopefully you guys are watching it, who are watching this live or watching this post, enjoyed this. I'm gonna start something. I think every week I'm gonna post a community question to see if anyone we'll go over. I'll post it on Twitter and Discord, and then I'll go over all of the answers that you guys left for me, and then that'll be pretty fun just to have some more interaction with you guys at the end of the day. It's going to be going back to the normal schedule, which is on Fridays, 5 p.m. Pacific time, and we'll go from there. But anyway, that is it, you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, and follow me, twitch.tv/Kotetsu Tokai, where we'll be streaming over there the majority of the time. But that's it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys on the next one. You guys take care.